deserve to have the best physical, mental, spiritual. Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. I'm your host. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I got a nice guest that we're going to be shooting some information back and forth with as far as his experiences in his life and what his passion is in these days. Thinking about football and things like that, and my passion of playing football and playing, getting into that position of playing and just kind of evolving from there. My, passion with Zealous Wellness became really because of football. It was part of my life for so long. I just got in tune with my body and kind of wanting to, stay healthy and young. And I think, growing up and playing football in the NFL and during those times, I always had like a baby face, and I still kind of do, I think, but I always felt young and acted young, and I'm like, man, I gotta run with this because I want to stay as young as possible, young looking, young feeling, and so that's really where my passion kind of started with regards to what I'm doing with Zealous Wellness and having amazing guests on too, by the way. And we've been having guests the last, 4 or 5 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks, I guess we'll say. But it's nice to learn a lot more about other people and what they're doing. And just the like-mindedness of the guests that we're having on is just, it's amazing because there are a lot of people out there looking for the information that we're providing here. And I think that's just an amazing opportunity for people to learn about what's available and learn how to kind of control your life. We've been controlled for a very long time with regards to our foods and just a lot of, things that we, would not want in our bodies, and even the air and the pollution and all that kind of stuff is, somewhat out of our control. We need to, take care of it and counter some of these negative effects that we're experiencing. So my guest and myself, we're definitely going to be talking a lot about what we can do to, maintain our health and our wellness and be healthy and live a long, prosperous life. So with that said, we'll break real quick, have a quick word from our sponsor. When we get back, I will introduce our guests and we'll go get going from there. So here's a quick word from our sponsor and we'll be right back.
It is possible. It's different this time. I'm showing up for myself because now I know that weight isn't about effort alone. It's not just calories in, calories out. For years, the world told us it was simple. Eat less, move more, try harder. But science has shown us it's more complex than that. It's a real metabolic condition. That's where GLP-3 comes in. Powered by MBC 267. A naturally derived peptide complex discovered in salmon from the Norwegian Sea and select mushrooms. GLP-3 works with the body's own system to help manage appetite and support metabolic balance. No fighting your body, no forced outcomes, just support where it actually matters. Because when you address the real factors at play, progress feels possible. I'm becoming the best version of myself. This is me and GLP-3.
And welcome back. So we have a gentleman from Trinidad, Jason Nelson. He grew up in Trinidad as the youngest of 8 children. He was the smaller, skinnier, and weaker than his peers. And that's, kind of like me. We had a little pre-show conversation about our size and how we were underestimated. And finishing off that, because of it, he was often bullied and underestimated, of course. So Jason found strength training, and it became more than an exercise. It became identity. So after migrating to the United States, Jason became a personal trainer, competed in bodybuilding, and later coached competitors. He then created Body Image, which is a health, fat loss, and longevity practice built around systems, not quick fixes. I love that. At Body Image, fat loss is not the finish line, it's the entry point. I love that one as well. The goal is never dependency, it's education, control, and sustainability. Beyond fat loss, this work expands into what we call the Human Optimization Project, focused on improving energy, recovery, cognition, and biological aging so that the body can support a long, capable, and independent life. The mission is simple: is to delay the onset of chronic disease while preserving strength, metabolic health, and cognitive function, so people can build bodies that support the life they've worked hard to create now and for decades to come. Jason Nelson, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, Mike, for having me. I appreciate it.
You are up in New York right now, right?
Right, experiencing some rainy weather, but we're gonna bring the sunshine and the vibes to the audience today. Yeah.
My sunny sunshine state of Florida will hopefully help you out there. But so what do you got going on up in Florida in New York right now?
Well, again, I want to say thank you for bringing me on and welcome all the guests that's listening. What do we have going on right now? Well, let me just start with a short intro about myself. Well, you did that very well. Jason Nelson. When I turned 40, I started pondering like, why does the body break down? Like, what can we do to slow down this process? And over the past 15 years, I've helped people, hundreds of people, optimize their health, improve their metabolism, and rebuild their strength. And now, as you said, body image is where we combine strength, metabolic testing, and precision peptide therapies. And what we're doing is it's really awesome. Like, we're helping people who were stuck and who were despondent, who realized that something was wrong with them and they couldn't quite put their finger on it, and they turned to the system, and the system just didn't give them the answers and the results that they wanted. So here we are, just creating this movement to free people from the bonds of poor health and misinformation. That's what we're up to.
Yeah, we talked earlier about the misinformation a little bit, about how we're kind of handcuffed a little bit with regards to our food and our food sources, and people have been on this show before who have recognized that as well, that we've been kind of handcuffed in a sense where we got controllers, people at the top making the decisions on what we are eating, what's available. And I say it's like a convenient sort of a handcuffing, because you can go to local farms and local markets and get a lot better food than you can find at the grocery store. But the convenience of the grocery store, and people, again, because they don't know better, they think, oh, it's fine. It's if I go to Whole Foods, everything's gonna be organic. No, no, you've been lied to, you've been misled. And I think that, with regards to kind of the monopoly that the food people have and the big pharma has over us, they're all just padding their pockets with money. And it's really sad when it comes down to it. And they're really not in for, getting us as a whole better body, better, health and wellness, because there's no money in sick people. Or no money in healthy people. Sorry, there's a lot of money in sick people, which is exactly what they want. So how do you feel about that, as far as your mindset about what the people that you've experienced that come through and look for your services and you've helped, what kind of issues have they had in the past?
If I start to listen to these issues, we'll be here all day. But I think the first thing is becoming aware of what's going on, and I think a lot of people are not willing to accept the fact that they've been lied to, we've been lied to. It's a conversation that I have on a daily basis. And I think it's so sinister. And I think people trust the system so much that they don't believe that someone would actually plan this to keep them trapped in this box. And they look at me like I'm some radical person, like I'm trying to a conspiracy theorist. And I'm like, no. If the first step is a little bit of awareness, read more, understand more, and open your mind up, right? In terms of conditions that people, I see everything: high cholesterol, insulin resistance, PCOS, women having exacerbated symptoms during perimenopause, low energy, poor sleep. You name it. It's a milieu of stuff. It's like Pandora's box and unleashed on the population. And we still think that it's because of something we did. Yes, we have to take some responsibility, but the responsibility also lies on the conglomerates and the monopolies that created this system to keep us trapped.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I think, and I've always talked about this, people are just a little afraid to, yes, their health might be kind of deteriorating and they, go see the doctor for a pill that's going to help them with their health, which doesn't, it might, but again, they maybe have another pill for that pill, another pill for that pill. And then you've got them in the system now, of course. But with regards to people who have, experienced a little bit of issues with their health, I think they're a little bit afraid to make a change and they get, kind of content, like as long as I can just take a pill and deal with the issues, I'm okay. But in reality, what those people may not know is that later on in life, it's going to be even worse. And so I think that, being proactive about your health in general is the main key right there. Stopping sickness before it actually has a chance to happen to begin with is what we really need to be focused on. But once you get that sickness and, diabetes, like you mentioned, and all those other issues that people are having, it's caused, typically from just bad lifestyle as far as eating and non-existent exercise or even movement in that in general sense. But what I found is in all honesty, I was a professional athlete, of course, and so it's just kind of in my nature to work out. I work out 5 to 6 times, typically 6 times a week. And I'm kind of learning a little bit about the health and wellness and industry and just different things that these different kind of coaches are coaching, and I've realized that I'm probably doing a lot more than I should physically. I don't need to be doing all this work as long as my diet is good and that kind of thing. And so you kind of do a little bit of mix. Are you still doing dealing with some physical training as well? Are you kind of focused on dieting, or what's the main focus of your business there, Body Image?
Well, we combine the strength training, the metabolic testing, and the peptide therapies. But the peptide therapies are left. That's at the end, because I always say you can't build a strong second floor on a weak foundation. It's always going to crash.
That's good.
All right. And most people just walk in the door asking for peptides, and I'm like, hold up. How did you sleep last night? What is your digestion like? What's your diet like? And if we don't check, if those boxes are not checked, I'm like, I'm not your guy, because I want to help people. I don't want to make that quick dollar. I want to be known for something, right? Like my coaching, the company, the people that work here, we love what we do. We're passionate about what we do. I just don't want to give you a pill for an ill. And I believe the peptide industry is becoming like that, right? And I think that we're gonna end up in so much more problems in the future, not from the side effect of the peptides, but the fact that we ignored the underlying foundational principles that you need to build to develop your health, right? To stay healthy. Um, so I'm not the guy who is just gonna inject you. We need to establish a foundation, and we need to work through the basics first. That's it.
Yeah. And that kind of fits in the category with regards to what I was saying before, is that people just think that there's going to be something out there that they can just take or consume and everything's going to be fine, which is not the case. It never was and never will be, because there's always some underlying issues of what is the cause and what is the effect of your issue. And so I think that, with regards, I love the fact that you're not going to just sell somebody peptides because they want them. You want to know why they want them, if they need them, even honestly. Because we can get a lot of great stuff naturally through our bodies and nutrition, of course. So, what kind of other modalities do you offer for your clients?
Well, it's interesting. We're stress reduce fat loss practitioners. So in 2021, we became certified in this type of weight loss coaching, health coaching. It's holistic based, called stress reduce fat loss. So we look at 7 reasons why the body holds on to fat. We examine your weight, your energy, your digestion, your mood, your metabolism, your sleep, your stress. And then we try to get a score of like 8 out of 10. And what we found was, and up to this day, it's our most kick-ass, can I say that, program that we ever launched. And it set the foundation for our GLP-1 coaching, our peptide coaching. And it's all natural, all holistic. And that's what we start with. Like, those are the foundational principles. You must start there. And we have people who are exercising 6 days a week, running in the morning, training at night. And I'm like, listen, like, number one, there's too much fire and not enough oil, right? It's like a lamp. You are going to run out of oil sooner or later. You're burning too much. So now we need to find that balance. Okay. And, like most people, and myself included at one point in time, you felt that you could out exercise a bad diet. You can't. And poor lifestyle, you just can't do it because eventually it's like a zero sum game. You're going to burn out. So that is one of the modalities. That's like the main thing in terms of nutrition and health coaching that we do. We also do something called metabolic balance. And this might sound a bit weird, right? But think about this, right? You heard about the hormone cortisol, right? Cortisol causes belly fat. Have you ever thought about if testosterone, estrogen, or thyroid, where it shows up on the body? Because if one hormone could show up on your gut, then the other hormones could show up on different parts of the body, right? I don't think it's that far fetched. So we do a precision 14 site caliper pinch. And from there, those values go into an algorithm and it gives you a metabolic balance profile of your client with specific protocols to match. And when I have matched that to traditional body fat testing, and we found a way to kind of bridge all these systems together, the insight that we have gotten from that is remarkable. It's ridiculous, and it's all natural. This is all about testing and examining and looking at people how they perform in the gym, and we also have that luxury of the programs that we administer, we protocols that we give out. We actually see the people, some of the people coming in through the door. So now it's like real life data that we're collecting to see if it's effective or it's not effective. And that's the cool stuff about what we do. I just love that part of it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's another thing I'm kind of learning in kind of the mindset of people, and of course, because I think that they may commit to being like, I want to find a health coach and I want to kind of get some work done or whatever the case may be, but they're a little hesitant, a little reserved, like I don't know if I want to do all this. But the good news is you don't have to. You can start it in baby steps and kind of experiment with some things and find out what really works for them and whatnot. And I love the fact that you have all those testing protocols that you implement to show real life value as far as what you see, what's going on in their body and so forth. I wanted to touch upon, backtrack a little bit about the GLP-1 and companies and products like Ozempic. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, but people, again, that's another kind of a concept of them. Hey, there's Ozempics out there now. I don't need to exercise or eat halal. I'm just going to take that shot. But what's happening with this synthetic GLP-1s of Ozempic and whatever else is in there, it's causing a lot of problems. There's a huge couple many lawsuits I think out there now on Ozempic. And so how do you and I love the fact that you said the natural GLP-1. We that commercial you saw of 3 International, they offer a GLP-3. It's actually GLP-1, of course, but I love the fact that it's natural. You don't have to, shoot it, through your skin. It's a sublingual, drop and so forth. But I think people will be a little bit more open minded to that kind of thing. And again, with the natural supplements that because our bodies are meant to heal themselves. And so what I like to teach people is to find the understanding of how your body, what fuels your body to actually create its own system to repair and become more healthy and get rid of sickness and things like that. And so that the GLP-1 is something that is definitely a newer thing with people, but I get a little nervous in the fact that, like I said, that they're just going to rush to these really bad GLP-1 products out there that are actually causing long-term effects, and they don't do studies. And that's another thing too with the vaccines. You got to be kidding me. There's a lot of research on vaccines even out there that they're showing that they never even test these things. Like, how can you have a vaccine not tested? It's crazy. So, going back to like Ozempic and things like that and the GLP-1, do you have any people talking, any fear of that? Do people realize how bad the synthetic GLP-1 is versus the natural GLP-1?
Well, to be quite transparent with you, we do GLP-1s are part of our peptide therapies. But the thing is, I'm going to start by saying, if anybody's thinking about starting up a fitness or wellness business in the future, focus on bone density, muscle preservation, and stopping fragility. Okay, like that's what the wellness centers of the future is going to look like, based on how these drugs are being abused by people and practitioners and doctors too as well. Okay, so I'm just going to start with that. Um, I was on the fence for months about GLP-1 therapies. In fact, I came in the game probably about a year after I was approached, and I saw this trend emerging, and I looked at the research and I looked at the research and I looked at the research, and I was like, all right, here's where we are right now. We have this thing that's shutting down your appetite, right? You are going to lose muscle mass, straight up. We are already experiencing micronutrient deficiencies, even with 5 meals a day. Okay, so there was a study that showed that an orange in the 1970 had 20 times more macronutrients than an orange harvested, was it like 30 years later? But
Mhm.
the one 30 years later had twice as much sugar. So we're macronutrient deficient, right? It was optimized for the sweetness and not for the quality, right? The system
Yeah.
again. And I was hesitant at first, and I was like, okay, so how could we? People are going to use this. It's like having training for a gun, right? Like, you could be trained to use a gun, or you could just have it and be crazy. Okay, you could use it to protect, or you could use it to create harm. Like, you need to be safe and responsible. Same thing with with peptides. You got to know what you're doing. And I looked at the protocol. I was like, okay, cool. You're micronutrient deficient. This thing is slowing down gut motility. It's making your mood. It can make your mood worse. It could drop your energy. Like, what would I do if I was to use this myself? What would I do to not have those problems arise? So once we started with the GLP-1 program on a pilot, what we did first was optimize the foundations, right? We optimized the foundations, and then what we didn't. Normally, the protocol is an aggressive increase in the dose, 100% increase in the dose from month to month to month. I was like, whoa, we don't need all of that. We just need something to calm the appetite down while we layer on the habits and the diet and the exercise to work. And I am telling you, like, I wouldn't say we cracked the code, but we did very well. We made some mistakes along the way. I have to admit that, but we did well with it. I've seen women who lost muscle, and I've seen women who gained muscle. And working through the programs and the new ones, we kind of found a really good place right now to make it happen. But I would always stress on the foundations, because most of the times when you see someone nailing the foundations, they probably don't even need a drug. All right, because we've proven it back and forth, back and forth. But as I said to you before, it's like somebody comes to me wanting to use the drug, and if I can't persuade them not to use it, the next best thing that I could do as a coach to help them is guide them through the use of the peptide properly. Because if left up to the doctor, it's like take the shot and leave. Next, that's
Yeah.
what's happening. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's me being transparent.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I think is a great protocol. Of course, the natural thing is to try to find the solutions naturally, of course. But again, you go back to that whole dependence on, oh, I'm going to trust my doctor, or the doctor says I should do this. And I, speaking of, it's weird because I went down to Miami for an NFL screen, like this big brain body. It's like you could do it once every 5 years. And what I know and what I'm learning about health and fitness and the nutrition and the foods and what cholesterol even and I was told by these doctors down in Miami, oh, you need to, your cholesterol's high, and I'm like, is it though? I didn't question them, but I have doubts now, and I'm doing a lot more of having to kind of second guess stuff and do my own research on things because again, we are learning pretty quickly these days. But I've kind of known for a while that we've been misled in a lot of categories. As soon as they put, cereal on the top of the pyramid. I'm like, what? That is insanity. You're talking about a substance that wasn't even, created until like when the early 80s or something, and out of grains, and like, oh, you think that's going to be healthy for us? It's processed food. Like, you think that's going to be our number one choice of food? Are you kidding me? That, and of course, when RFK flipped it entirely backwards, upside down, it's like, it's exactly the way I looked at it. That's the way it should be. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like things that are pretty obvious to the people that would know better, they're not obvious to people that don't. And the trust is really where I'm going with that too. Is it's so saddening to think and know that people are being misled, and the people that are misleading us as a human race, essentially, don't really care. It's all about, the money that they're making. They don't really care, so it's a very challenging industry in a sense where you got some convincing to do. And my goal as a coach and anything that I'm doing, if I'm talking to anybody in general, I'm gonna be very general and specific with them, of course, with regards to just, here's reality and here's what I think reality is. And there's more research out there, and you can go and find your own research, because the more we evolve with this information, the more people are writing about it and publishing about it. Although people do, have the ability to squash those kind of documents that could change people's opinion about being more healthy, which I think is kind of crazy too. But have you found that a lot of people, like how long is like your program, as far as if I came to you today, is it something based on my current health right now? Would it kind of give you an idea of how long I'd be working with you, or how do you guys deal with that?
Well, let me start by saying let's go back to the cholesterol, right? So it's, it's better to have questions you can't answer, right, than answers you can't question, right? So that's let's start with that. And short story, I was at one of my trainings last November, and the doctor who was delivering a part of the training, she is a high performance. I can't say her name. I would like to, right? She's a high performance coach for the NFL, right? So she travels to a different city like every 2 days, and she works with some of the top guys in the business. And her job is to get them on the field every Sunday. She's like, I wish they didn't play, but I have to do what I have to do. They pay me, and I need to make sure that that they're fit, right? That they're good to go. And she said something very interesting about cholesterol. And she said that cholesterol only becomes an issue when oxidative stress is present. And I was like, let's explain that, right? And it's explained like a run flat tire. Like you get a puncture, you get a nail, and the liquid blocks the nail, blocks the air from seeping out. The thing is that in the arterial wall, if there's oxidative stress in the system, there's a ding in the endothelium, and the cholesterol just latches onto that to patch it. So I'm like, So once we don't have oxidative stress, like high cholesterol is not so much of an issue. And there's even research that longevity research from people I think in Japan, who lived long, healthy lives, whose cholesterol was elevated like for an extended period of time. So it's like, we've been taught to do things a little backwards here, right? In terms of how long the program is, when somebody comes into the human optimization program, it's usually a 6-month program. And then past that point, if they want to continue, we could just do at that point in time the peptide therapies. At that point in time, the person would have already established the foundation. They know what the coaching is like. They're part of our community. They're part of our private group. And they have access to us. Like, we're in business to help people. So not because you're finished coaching with me, like you have a question, I'm going to be there for you, right? So it's definitely it's a 6-month commitment. However, if someone has to lose weight, they would stay at that phase until they get to their ideal height to weight ratio before they move on to the more advanced things. right? Because sometimes the most advanced things you can do is to do the basics consistently. We have to ensure that you're handling the basics. Your body loses the fat, your body is ready to move to the next step. We're not going to move to the next step if you have weight to lose or a
Yep.
lot of weight to lose. All right. So I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. You know, it kind of reminds me of like the people that you get the gastric surgery that you have to lose some weight prior to getting that surgery. I'm talking about like, you know, someone's pretty obese, of course. I watched the show, whatever it was. I used to watch it. um, but you know, and thinking about like the peptides you were mentioning, it's like 6 months into a program, you probably find that the peptides that the person may want, you know, or maybe even need to help their system out better, um, you'd probably eliminate a lot of the need for peptides during the 6 months because they got healthier naturally, right? So that's what I'm saying. You got to give yourself an opportunity to see where you are, you know, as far as, you know, again, I talk about when people are afraid and, you know, I don't want to, and I say, when you go work out, yeah, it's going to suck for the first couple of weeks. You're going to like, oh, why am I here? This is horrible. But once you get over that hump, you're just kind of coasting from that point on. And yeah, you can challenge yourself and get a little bit more, but I think people are afraid with that, with the diet, that kind of thing, the commitment for, do you have anybody like, you know, do they resist the 6 months? Like, oh man, that's too long. I just wanted like a month long thing or something. You have any issues like that?
No, well, here's when I send an offer, if somebody comes into the program and they, whatever their goals are, I send the right offer to them. So an offer might be a 3 month offer, which is just like a weight loss or fat loss offer. And if someone comes in like yourself, who's already in shape, you're like, listen, man, I want to optimize A, B, C, D, then you would have the 6 month program. So you're coming into a program knowing that, okay, you already have the foundations covered. What can we layer on? And you might have some specific outcomes. Now, a big part of what we do too is we incorporate epigenetic testing. So
Mm-hmm.
we have the optimization program. There's a blood draw. We send it off to the lab, and we have a biological age versus a chronological age style thing going on. And then what's so cool about this is that when you start seeing that you start understanding the systems of the body, they don't all age at the same pace.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish I could show you my results right now. Like, I optimized for strength and being lean for so much years that when I tested, I was 45 years old, I'm 45 years now. My muscular and my bone system were that of a 39-year-old, but my brain and my blood system was a bit older. And it's like you're seeing all these different clocks, 11 in total, and you're like, huh, now I need to bring everything in alignment. What can I do to make my brain age slower, or my hormones? And that is where the true optimization. That's where we gamify it. That's the fun part,
Yeah.
right? So that provided so much more. It made our program so much more dynamic, and it made people latch on to the program a little more. Like, okay, cool. Like, what's next? And it is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I'm sure that, you know, you found this as well as I have, that people don't really realize how much, you know, the lack of sleep, you know, if you have sleep issues, lack of sleep affects your health, stress levels affect your health, speaking of the cortisone. And, you know, just a lot of things that they weren't really aware of. Sunlight, you know, speaking of the cholesterol, you know, and vitamin D, like that's what happens. The cholesterol turns the sunlight into vitamin D. You know, so we need that. We need that, you know, for that. And then people are avoiding the sun, and plus, not only that, they're putting all these chemicals on their skin to keep themselves from being burned. It's just to stay in the sun a short time or cover up with other stuff, not so much the chemicals. And that's one thing that really bothers me a lot about things. And I'm a lot more conscious about it now, about chemicals and things, like even toothpaste to begin with, you know, just like little things like that. Like I don't want fluoride. People, I used to hear from people all the time, oh, fluoride's great for your teeth and all this. I'm like, actually, you know, we're learning now that fluoride is not good for you. It's dumbing us down. You know, it's changing our hormones. You know, there's a lot of things happening.
100%. So funny that you mentioned this. I'm on a Zoom call with one of my clients, and she's telling me how great her diet is, and she's talking about this and that. I'm like, you're doing so good. And then she spoke about alcohol being a potent neurotoxin. I said, yes, it is. I was like, so too is fluoride. She's like, no. I said, yeah. And then she got she flipped off at me, and I said, listen, at the end of the day, a toxin is a toxin. I said, if you ingest too much at one point in time, it could cause more problem. It could kill you right then and there. I said, but over a period of time, it still causes changes to the system, damage to the system, right? And and she said, same argument. Well, it's proven. It's like Google top five, the people, the countries that have the best teeth in the world, and the top five countries, only one use fluoridated water, and only 10% of that country, 10% of the water is fluoridated in that country. I said there's no fluoride in the water in those countries with people with the best teeth, and yeah, it was a thing, but the chemicals that women put on their skin, your deodorants, your lipstick, your nails.
Oh, I heard
It's
about that. Yeah.
man. So when we do our program, part of we have a course format that's attached to it. The cycle two of our program is all focused on detoxification, detoxifying your body, detoxifying your house, detoxifying your car. Like, what can we do to break free of these chemicals? You know?
Yeah. It's really sad that we have to do a lot of these things on our own to stay healthy, and it shouldn't be like that. This is a world we're living in. Wasn't our decision to be here. Maybe it was, but we've heard different theories about that too. But with regards to just living a life naturally and healthy and all that, and it's sad that we've come to the point where we're having to take care of a lot of sick people because of decisions that were made years ago and so forth. I think about the Flexner report with regards to where's the material coming from that we're learning from, like doctors. Where are they learning from? What kind of material are they learning from? And so I think as a society, I think we are evolving quite a bit from our past mindset is what we thought we knew is now changing to what we are realizing that is really not the case anymore, and we're changing our ways. And it's people like you and me that are helping to expose what is truth and what's not, and what's good and what's not, of course. So just what kind of last points would you like to make, and then how can people get in touch with you?
Well, okay. So last points. Back to the leader in charge. I think one of the thing is is a scale called the innovation of diffusion. Like you're the early adopters. When something comes, people jump on it, and then you're the people in the middle, and then there are the laggards, the people who have to wait to see if it works or if it doesn't work. And what I want to close with is like the research is always like a post-mortem. Don't be scared to try something new. Like the car wasn't based on research. The car was an innovation. The airplane was an innovation. So we don't have to wait for something to be proven. If you could prove that it's working right now and that it's not deleterious to your health and you feel good, then you don't need to look at the papers. Just do the thing. And that's where the real change happens. Okay, so don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to try new things. Step out of the box a little. Read some more. Become aware. And don't just consume information, but apply some of the stuff that you learn. And information is so abundant now with the AI and chat. It's like we're becoming overloaded with information and not enough action.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to find me, anybody want to find me, it's www.bodyimage.health. All right, you can find me there. The website is being it's a one pager for now, is being rebuilt. You could put in your contact information there, and I'll be sure to reach out to you, and we could have a conversation on whatever you're going through right now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jason, and everybody reach out to Jason. There's a website right there. and you can see about his services and what he's up. What whereabouts in New York are you at? No.
Pardon?
What whereabouts in New York are you?
I'm in Williston Park, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So not in Trinidad.
I'm not in I'm from Trinidad, but I'm in
Yeah.
Williston Park, New York.
Okay. Good. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, thanks to you. Thanks again so much, and definitely some great information again on Zealous Wellness. Definitely love to stay in touch and answer any questions you guys might have, and definitely check out our podcast every Monday night at 5:30. And so, with that said, I hope you guys have an amazing night. And thanks again, Jason. I really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week on Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis.
Mike, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time.